Jimmy here, and today I'm going to talk about what I've learned during my first two and only two solo truck camping trips. All right, so yeah, I've only done this twice. This truck I'm leaning on behind me here is a 1995 GMC Suburban, which I have been building up to be an overlanding rig. I'm quite particular about it, and so although I probably could just hit the road and go on some overlanding trips, I don't think it's quite ready yet. I just want to make sure that the truck is completely reliable, or as reliable as I can make it, before I head out on some, overlanding adventures, which basically include going out into the middle of nowhere where there's really no help. So I had an idea. I thought, well, why not, in the meantime, take the truck out and go solo stealth truck camping? It'll be great. At least that's what the other people's videos look like when I watch them on YouTube. So I got together my bin full of stuff, everything that I thought I would need to, go solo truck camping, everything from like a camp stove to, traction boards to an axe and, basically everything that I thought I would need doing my overlanding stuff. I just brought that for the solo truck camping because you can never be over prepared, right? Even down to my sleeping bag. I bought a minus 60-degree sleeping bag specifically for the purpose of being able to camp wherever I want, whenever I want, and never worrying about being cold. And I am glad I bought that. It's a Wiggy's bag. It's called the Hunter Antarctic, and the bag is really big, but really warm. In fact, the first trip I took was up the mountains into the snow. I knew there was going to be a big snowstorm coming. I love snow, so I wanted to get out there before the storm. I wanted to be able to get out there and find a good spot and start my camping experience and get everything set up and then have the snowfall while I was, sleeping. That sleeping part didn't really work out too well because I was so worried about what was going on outside my truck, but I think I'll get over that with time. The sleeping bag, however, did its job wonderfully. I was toasty warm in that, even though it was freezing outside and there was literally snow falling. I woke up and my truck was covered in snow. I also went out before that snow trip and bought a Mr. Buddy heater at Walmart, and that thing is awesome. I bought a couple of 1-pound cans of propane, and it's the first time I had ever used anything like that. And I didn't really get to use it all that much during that trip, but the Mr. Buddy heater seems like it works really good. I did bring a carbon monoxide detector for the truck just in case. I don't know how all that stuff works, but I thought better to be safe than sorry. Needless to say, I did the very best I could in preparing for these new truck camping adventures that I'm going to be going on. So what exactly is it that I learned on these two trips? Well, number one, it's plain fun. In my case, I got to plan out my trip, kind of figure out where it was I wanted to go, not really down to the actual parking spot, but definitely the area. And then once I kind of knew where I was going, I just started packing all my stuff into my truck. That in itself is fun. It's fun to just start thinking about everything you might need, making sure you have everything food-wise, keeping warm-wise, being able to sleep and all that stuff, and loading up the truck. I think for me also another part of the fun factor of this is finally getting to use the cargo area of my truck. I drive a Suburban and, while it's fantastic to have a Suburban, the rear cargo area of this truck really never gets used unless I'm going to the grocery store or something. So it was actually pretty cool knowing that I was going to get to use this rear area, being able to sleep back there, pack all my stuff back there, and kind of create like a little fort back there, if you will. And kind of bundled up with that, you get to use all these gadgets. You get to use your new sleeping bag. You get to use your Mr. Buddy heater and everything else that you have for eating and stuff like that. It's just kind of like one of those things as a kid when you wanted to camp in your backyard or, go up in a tree house and have all your stuff. It's kind of what you're getting to do, but now you're getting to do it in your vehicle, which is kind of also your toy. I could go on and on about the fun factor, but basically, number one, it's fun. The second thing I learned is, well, planning helps. I certainly am not a planner. I'm kind of like a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy, so planning things is kind of difficult for me because I end up losing interest. But I do know that if I wanted to have a successful trip, that I did need to plan out at least where I was going, when I was going, how long I was going to stay there, what I was going to need while I was there, the weather situation and stuff like that. For example, my second trip that I did when I went to the beach, I knew the area of beach I wanted to go to, But it was really beneficial to jump on the maps and look at the satellite view and just be able to see where the roads dead-ended into basically the sand. And once I kind of knew like the general area, then I could set my navigation, head there, look for a spot, and that helped out a lot, because getting somewhere and really not knowing where to go, and to then have to do the research once you're there, pulled off the side of the road, maybe looking at your phone and all that, that'll work, but it's definitely better to have a really good idea of where you're going first. Along with the planning comes the food, the water, the using the bathroom, the trash situation. How do you plan for that kind of a thing? In my case, with both of my trips, I brought my camp stove, which is a Coleman Classic twin burner camp stove, but didn't get to use it. The reason why I didn't use that camp stove is simply the locations that I was at. It wasn't really conducive to that. Like, I couldn't just jump out of the back of my truck and start cooking like on a public road, like right by someone's house when there's like 50 people walking by at the beach, or, you know, in the parking lot by some store like I was when I was camping in the snow. I will be using that camp stove soon. I can't wait to use it. So stay tuned for that. And the last thing I'm going to bring up about planning here is checking the weather, just making sure I knew what was going to be happening, where it was I was going when I was going there. I wanted to make sure I was going to be warm enough. You've already heard me talk about my sleeping bag and just why it is that I bought a minus 60-degree sleeping bag. And that was simply just so I don't ever have to worry about being cold no matter where I go. And that has worked out so far on these 2 trips. So the second thing I learned is planning. The third thing that I've learned here is that you probably won't get very good sleep at all. I mean, unless you're a seasoned veteran with this and nothing phases you at all, there's going to be a lot of things that stress you out while you're truck camping. For me, I have this thought in the back of my head, like, what if somebody comes up to my truck and tries to look in and see if I'm in there, or tries to steal something out of my truck because maybe I'm in a remote location and there's just a random vehicle there and no one knows if someone's in it. So even when I was in the snow, I was in a really safe spot. Every sound that I heard, which was the snow hitting my truck and ice falling off, every sound I heard, I thought it was someone, you know, looking into my vehicle or something like that. So the noises and the sounds are something that I'm definitely heightened to, and especially in a situation like that. At the beach, I could hear people walking by and talking at every hour of the night. Even at 3 o'clock in the morning, I could hear people walking by and talking, and that kept me up. I just couldn't fall asleep like that. And although my sleeping bag was perfectly adequate in terms of warmth, I was uncomfortable laying in the back of my truck. I thought it would be no big deal because, you know, I got like the padding from the carpet, I have the carpet, I have this rubber mat thing, and then my padding from my sleeping bag. But it turns out it wasn't comfortable really at all. My hips hurt, my shoulders hurt, my ribs hurt, my back hurt. So I think absolutely I need to go out and get some sort of camping like sleep pad that I can put my sleeping bag on top of and then sleep on top of that. I think that's going to help out tremendously. And although I was extremely warm inside my sleeping bag, the inside of my truck when I was up at the snow was extremely cold. And that's where that Mr. Buddy heater idea came in. I thought, oh, no big deal, I'll just start up the Mr. Buddy heater. Well, then I was dealing with, man, this is a kind of small space, and what if my sleeping bag got a little too close to the heating elements and like melted or started on fire? What if I fell asleep while that thing was still on and there was a fire? You know, it's just kind of difficult figuring out the logistics of all these things. So yeah, just make sure you're prepared to not get very good sleep at all. Number 4, you may not be able to cook your meal or make your coffee like you had planned. I touched on this before, but I just wanted to reiterate that that camp stove that you bought that is so simple to use, that seems like it would be so fun to just throw on the tailgate of your truck, you know, light it up, make some coffee, cook some food. Yeah, well, you're not really going to be able to do that if you're in a public area. Number 1, maybe you could get away with it, but it's going to be a little bit embarrassing. You know, there's people walking around like on the boardwalk at the beach, and if I was standing here 5 feet away from where people are walking and playing in the sand and stuff, cooking a meal on my camp stove, I don't know, maybe some people would think that was cool, but I think that it'd be kind of embarrassing to do that. You'd probably draw a crowd, and that's something that you really don't want to do, especially when you're solo stealth truck camping, right? And aside from that, it may not even be allowed. So definitely check on that before you just break out that camp stove and start cooking something on your tailgate. I don't know, maybe you'd be more bold than I am, but I'm gonna wait to use mine till it's more of an inconspicuous area. So number 4, you may not be able to cook your meal or make your coffee like you had hoped. Number 5, let's talk about your vehicle. I know that there are people who camp in cars. I've seen it on YouTube. It looks crazy to me, but people do it. There are obviously people who camp in RVs and things like that. But I would say if you wanted the most inconspicuous, I mean, other than a car, of course, vehicle, you're gonna want something like a pickup truck with a camper shell, an SUV like my Suburban, or a van, which seems like it would be really the best option. In my opinion, a pickup truck with a camper shell is nice, but a Suburban or something like this is even better. And even better than that would probably be a tall style van. I know there are a lot of people who truck camp out of a pickup truck with a camper shell, but I think the one big problem with that is you really don't have access to the cab of your vehicle if you needed it quick. That's where something like the Suburban comes in, where it kind of is a pickup truck with a permanently attached camper shell, if you will, and I can get up and jump in the driver's seat very fast and take off if I needed to. The only downside to this SUV, this Suburban, is the fact that I don't have much headroom in there. There is plenty for me to sit up and do everything I need to do, but I certainly can't stand up, of course. And that's where those tall styled vans, like the Sprinter vans, and I think Ford makes a version of that, those vans seem like they would be the absolute perfect stealth camping vehicle of all time. You can get one that's still like a regular sized vehicle, so it's still somewhat inconspicuous, and you'd have plenty of room to stand up and walk around in there, which would be nice. So obviously the right vehicle really just depends on what you want, what you need, and really what you have. But I would say 3 things that you really want in a vehicle for truck camping or van camping or stealth camping or whatever is going to be privacy, number 1, space, and even safety. Safety, again, going back to being able to jump in the driver's seat and take off if you needed to very quickly. Let's just say you got some bad people messing with your truck or your vehicle or something in the middle of the night. You need to jump in the driver's seat and take off. You're not going to be able to do that if you're in a pickup truck camper shell. So number 5, you need the right vehicle. The 6th thing I learned is that not everything will go according to plan. So bring more than you need. Well, that's what I think is smart anyway. For example, on my first solo truck camping trip up the mountain to see the snow, everything went pretty dang good. I did get there kind of late, but I was able to find a spot fairly quickly. So I pulled in, set everything up, and got to camping. It was fun. Woke up the next morning, truck was caked, covered in snow. It was awesome. But as I was ready to head home, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna head up the mountain just a little bit farther where it was storming worse at the time, and we'll see what we can find. Of course, that was a terrible idea because I couldn't see anything in front of me, which forced me to turn around, and it was during that U-turn that I slid off the road into a giant bank of snow left behind by the snowplow.
Well, you guys aren't gonna believe this. I just got totally stuck in all of this. You see this? This is from me. And you see these guys? Oh, there's one. And there's the other. Completely jacked. Look at how deep this is, guys. I'm talking, I was stuck in 1.5 feet. These guys just got me out. That's it. All I did was stuck these under my tires, turned my wheel, and got out. Wow. Wow.
My fault. I totally get it. It was totally my fault. I slid off the road because I was going a little too fast during my U-turn. Thankfully, I was prepared. I brought traction boards. Of course, I wasn't thinking about that at the time. I started to panic, waved down a guy who stopped in a Jeep. He really couldn't help me because his Jeep was like a quarter the size of my truck, and we didn't have any tow straps or anything like that. His words were something to the effect of, "You got a shovel? You're gonna have to dig yourself out of this one." And so I did have a shovel, but I remembered the traction boards. I went back, started digging with my bare hands the snow out from in front of the 2 rear tires, shoved those traction boards right in front of those 2 rear tires as deep as I could get them, jumped in my truck, and drove right out. It was incredible. I did not think those traction boards would work that good. So always be over prepared. That's what I'm gonna do from here on out. I'm gonna bring more than I need, definitely in every situation. I just think it's a safe thing to do. In conclusion here, I just wanna say, I'm just a beginner with all this truck camping stuff. Don't take my word for it at all. Do your research, do your own due diligence, and come up with your own plan and your own conclusions. That's what I did. Of course, I only have 2 truck camping trips under my belt, but so far I've learned a lot in just those 2 trips. And from one beginner to maybe another, if I could give you any advice, I would say definitely start small. Just do something that you think would be very easy for you to do with the equipment and vehicle that you have. Maybe even camp in your driveway or on the street in front of your house. You never know, you could learn a lot from just one night camping in your truck. It might teach you, for example, that your sleeping bag is totally inadequate. Also, don't break any laws, guys. Don't break any rules or laws. Don't hassle people. You know, don't do things that are going to make other people mad. It's just not the whole goal here. We're not trying to get away with something. We're trying to just go on an adventure and have fun. It's all about having fun, and when you start to lose that, then what are you really doing it for? So now that I have 2 camping trips down, one in the snow and one at the beach, I cannot wait to see where I'm headed to next. Well guys, if you liked this video, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Also, if you want to follow my adventures, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that bell icon either. That bell icon will notify you the next time I upload a video. For One Road, I'm Jimmy, and I will see you in the next one.